the mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the mashup.
Well, folks, welcome to Mashup 199. All right, so let's get right to it. We got no twos this week. So we had no Sean last week. We got no twos this week. So it's a bit of a, I don't know, putting in the toolies, I guess, from both our perspectives. Welcome to Mashup 199. I don't have a rant. I do have a story. I don't know how many planes you've been on in your life, but all the videos I've ever seen, I've never had anything too crazy, hectic happen on a plane. I was coming back from Panama City. That's why I wasn't on Mashup 198. And I'm sitting, I'm reading a book. We're like 45 minutes into the flight. And I'm sitting on the aisle seat of row 3. Okay. And I'm sitting there reading my book. And all of a sudden there's like this shake. And I look over. And the guy in the middle seat is kicking the seat in front of him, but like underneath. You know how you can stretch your feet out? My legs aren't long enough. Maybe Quick Dick, when he gets on, can reach that far. My little legs can't reach that far. But regardless, there's this little metal bar at the front of your seat, right? And if you were just to put your legs down, you could feel it. Anyways, he's kicking that. And the lady in front of him is kicking his feet. And they're going back and forth. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, are we going to divert it back to Panama City? Like, is this? And I don't know whether to talk, but he's pretty angry. And the lady in front of him's calling him an asshole, and they're just going back and forth, back and forth. Finally, the stewardess gets up there and she's like, "What's going on?" And he's going, It's my footrest. It's my footrest. I could put my feet on the footrest." And she's going, "What is he talking about? I'm putting my feet directly underneath me." And they're like kicking each other back and forth, calling each other names. It was pretty wild. And the stewardess is like deer in headlights. She's going, "Honestly, guys, I've never seen anything like this. Like, she can put her feet down. It's my foot." Anyways, it goes on and on and on. And I'm sitting there kind of like, what is happening here? And she goes, "Okay, fine. We got seats at the back of the plane. One of you can just move. Lots of room in the back of the plane." Neither of them wants to move. She's like, "So you're just going to sit here and kick each other for 8 hours on a flight?" Finally, I'm like, they don't want to move. I'll move. They can have my seat. I'm gone. And so she moved me to the back of the plane. I assume everything ironed itself out because the guy had to move to my seat, so he wasn't kicking her seat. I'm just like, I've never had anything crazy like this happen before. Welcome to Mashup 199, where it isn't rants, it's stories from Sean. And I got a new guest host, co-host today, Quick Dick McDick. QDM. Have you ever heard anything like that?
No, but like that's why I drive everywhere, and when I fly, I'm usually intoxicated. So but I don't know. I'm the kind of guy that I would probably get involved in that situation and try and talk to the two parties and have them reach some sort of accord. You know what I mean?
So I started talking to the guy. He was flying to Winnipeg for that reason, right?
There,
right.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to fly direct to Winnipeg. They canceled that flight, so he had to fly to Calgary, back to Regina, spend the night in Regina, then fly to Winnipeg. So he was taking his frustration out on the poor lady in front of him. And I was trying to like de-escalate like I do. I was just sitting there and I'm like, I'm not winning this. This is a strange situation. He was an angry man. He wasn't angry at me. I don't even know if he was angry at the woman in front of him. He was just angry.
There's times I just don't get people, man. I just don't.
Okay.
And why I prefer to drive most places, because I am my only passenger. I'm the only driver. I'm the only everything. So if anything's going wrong, it's my fault, unless it's the asshole in front of me.
So welcome to Mashup 199, folks. I am back. I'm joined today by QDM for the hour. We got another guest sitting in the background because we got a couple of things to talk about. Before we get there, happy Airborne Friday to all the military boys and everyone tuned in. Thanks for tuning in. If you like the show, make sure to share it with a friend, retweet it, all that good stuff. And well, let's get on with the show, shall we? We're gonna bring
my homework, Sean. I appreciate it.
I like bringing
coming in here.
You know
cold.
what? I like bringing in QDM in cold. I figured this would be the best way. A comedian, he likes to roll with the punches. So I'm like, well, I'm going to let you roll with the punches today.
Right on.
Okay, Chris Sims, we're going to bring her in too. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Miss
A little,
Sims.
a little different view for you today, Chris. I know you're expecting twos, and I thought I would throw a curveball at you as well, and really not tell you.
The fact that I get to be on the same show as Quick Dick, like I'm fangirling right now. It's a super big deal. I was just looking up, I don't remember this dude's name, but I just looked it up, something on X. There's this dude that runs some huge like AI company that isn't a weapons manufacturer, but he does like medical devices and stuff. He's talking about his entire system getting wiped and through like logins and like, I don't know, man. I was born in the 70s. This is all starting to freak me out. And I was looking up, do Faraday cages block Wi-Fi and cell signals, or is this just like EMPs? Like, how do I?
Yes, they do.
Okay, well, there we are. So I'll just start practicing bow hunting and buy some silver. I don't know. How are you fellas doing?
Chris, do you know what else blocks the government and cell service and everything from seeing you?
Tinfoil?
My dad's shop. It's like out in the middle of nowhere in Tufnell, and there's just junk everywhere inside, and there's like 8 layers of lead paint on the outside of it, and they can't see in.
And so if one of the Terminator bots gets in there, it won't be able to focus because it'll be too much stuff.
It'll be over. Yeah, exactly. My dad will start stripping parts off of it and putting it on his old Dodge truck. So.
Anyway, thanks for the invite, Sean. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Well, I think we got you for the first half an hour, correct,
yes,
Chris?
You do.
Okay. I've got several stories that I'm curious your 2 thoughts on. Okay. We're going to start with Bill C9. I think everybody knows. Okay, I'll read the headline. Bill C9 was supposed to fight hate. Instead, it's being rushed through Parliament and threatens the rights of every Canadian. Yesterday, the federal government forced the House of Commons Justice Committee to finish the study of Bill C9, the Combating Hate Act. No more debate. Just get it done. Despite the bill's numerous flaws, the government is now set to push C9 through, giving the House of Commons a maximum of 2 days for the report stage and third reading. Thoughts?
At least Dean Blundell might be taken down by this if it passes.
So the Taxpayers Federation, we've been fighting other censorship laws because it affects things like what we're doing right now. Having a very frank conversation online because the CRTC, which is basically a state regulator of what used to be just broadcasting, just TV and radio, has now slithered its tentacles into the online world, and it wants to regulate shows like this. And it wants to go after things like YouTube and Spotify and Rumble and all those platformy places and apply government rules to them. Basically, what we're worried about at the Taxpayers Federation is you're not going to see us. You're not going to see Sean. You're not going to see Quick Dick. Like, they're going to start strangling information that they don't like, because the government has a real nasty habit of automatically defining things they don't like as misinformation or disinformation. We're super worried about all of those slippery slopes. And so I find it interesting that Bill C9, while it's primarily about religious places, so there's 2 elements that has been explained to me as part of the bill. One is that there's going to be like a bubble zone around physical places of worship. So churches, synagogues, mosques. I don't know if Tom Cruise gets his Scientology office on the 4th floor bubble zone, but that would have a bubble zone. So you can't protest in those bubble zones. And the other element is that it would remove, this is according to civil liberties groups, it would remove the defense of I'm proclaiming my faith or I'm reading from a religious text while I'm saying something. Okay. The reason why, well, we're really concerned whenever the government starts stomping on free expression, because the government always wants to change the definition of what is and is not acceptable speech. And also, just flagging, I've been in the arena a long time. When you get the Canadian Labour Congress, the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, which are lefty, including the Canadian Constitution Foundation, which is like Christine Van Gyn's group, agreeing that this is bad, we better pay attention to this. This reminds me of when they came together, those 2 different groups, and fought the Emergencies Act order. So folks are paying attention to this for a darn good reason.
From my understanding, though, it's getting pushed through, is it not, Chris? Like, They could be coming together all they want, but it's still going through. Because
the Bloc, last I saw, the Bloc is supporting it, and so are the minority Liberals. I don't even, like, they're still technically a minority because they haven't had those by-elections yet. So, yeah, it's bad. Andrew Lawton's been speaking out on this a lot. Again, you get folks like Labour Congress and Andrew Lawton saying the same thing. Like, That's rough. Like this is trouble.
Q, do you worry about this at all? Like, I mean, you're a guy who makes not his living. Obviously, you're doing the farming thing, but your message is through think about our relationship, how we found each other,
Yeah,
right? It was because of social media and your videos on YouTube.
like absolutely. I think everybody forgets really fast that the government's supposed to be an employee of us, not the other way around. Is one thing that we seem to be really losing track of. We already have some pretty strong laws that exist in Canada in regards to what hate speech is and or isn't. And at what point in time do you have some sort of a body that, first of all, can find the amount of time to be able to keep track of what everybody is saying at what specific point in time? And second of all, that gets to make the decision of what somebody has said, if they're going to classify it as hate speech or not. And if you can hide behind legislation like C9 and just use that to take down, say, an opinion that you don't like or that's against what you believe in, as say, if you're a member of the oversized bureaucracy that exists, that's called our government, and all of a sudden you're hearing somebody say something that you just don't like that maybe doesn't classify as hate speech, who gets to sit in there and click that button or decide what goes where? I mean, the dangers that exist within this are like consequential beyond facts that we could ever really imagine, right? And I don't like the way that it's headed.
Let's talk about.
I mean, I can live without my YouTube channel, but it doesn't mean that that's okay. I mean, we're supposed to be able to have free expression here in Canada, and this would, in essence, be able to take that away from us, right?
I want to just quickly flag, and because this government always bloody well gets away with this, they make it sound as if we have no laws already. To your point, Quick Dick, we already have laws about this stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, I won't repeat it because it would be wrong to say so, but you cannot say, hey, I hate that identifiable group, let's go kill them because of who they like. You can't do that. That is already in the criminal code. Okay. It's already there. It's the same thing as when we saw the so-called Online Harms Act. Okay. And that is where despicably the government was hiding behind the protection of children, which is a good thing, trying to clamp down on people's free expression, which is a bad thing. And so they were trying to make it sound as if we already don't have very strict laws against images of child sexual abuse being shared on the internet. We do. And everyone I know, if they want to toughen those laws, do it. Like, I don't know anybody that would argue against that. Throw the book at them, put them in jail for life. We don't care. But the element that they was hiding behind it was basically of anyone could anonymously phone in to some imagined, but we'd all have to pay for it, kind of speech police, where you think, hey, I think Sean is going to say something super hurtful and offensive in the future sometime. And they would literally tell him, you have to take down your Twitter account. And if you don't, we're going to fine you like tens of thousands of dollars. It was crazy. And so we had both left and right civil liberties groups and free speech groups fighting stuff like that. C9 feels like a piece of this wider censorship puzzle. Did you guys see Joe Rogan talking about this recently?
No.
Yeah. Joe Rogan was even highlighting the fact that what I mentioned there about podcasts and shows like yours, Sean, and Quick Dick, that this is a huge kind of apparatus that is being built around us here by the government of censorship. C9 is a religious element of it, but the broader picture includes things like misinformation and disinformation, which can include things like carbon taxes, folks.
Well, we'd hate to spread any misinformation on a carbon tax, wouldn't we?
That would be so upsetting.
Okay. We got Bill C9. All right. Okay. That's something. Another one is this Bill C2, I believe. The new lawful access bill will give police CSIS more powers to track suspects. The Liberal government has introduced a new law access bill that it says will help police and security services track and identify people who may be using tools like social media or artificial intelligence to commit crimes or threaten national security. My apologies. Bill C2 is the first one. It's Bill C22. That's what came out this week in the headlines. Do you guys understand anything of what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard about this one as of yet here. I'm a little out of touch with everything going on with what's happening with Kevin right now, but all I can say is so great. So give who more power to do what, considering the fact that all the powers that we have right now within our policing services, we can't seem to catch criminals that are doing anything. When we do catch criminals that are doing things like, say, trafficking fentanyl through Saskatchewan, it gets stayed anyways, and then they wind up walking free and going back to their jobs, and nothing gets done about it. Our legal system in this country is an absolute joke.
So to Quick Tick's point, we already have a lot of laws based on this stuff. Again, Taxpayers Federation, we criticize the government all the time. And lots of our other groups that are similar to us, they criticize the government for different reasons. We have to be able to express ourselves. We have to be able to hold the government to account. And that the part in the journalist in me, the language you just used there of define national security, right? Define national security, because the government tried to argue when it was invoking the Emergencies Act that economic harm, like having a shop closed, accounted for things like national security. Now, thankfully, 2 judges have said, no, you should not have frozen people's bank accounts. You should not have invoked the Emergencies Act. That was a huge no-no. But if you start allowing that definition of national security to get foggy, then what are we talking about here? They could start arguing that, yeah, economic impact could be national security. Maybe let's just imagine, what if they start saying that national security includes environmental security? What if, the habitat of a snail, I'm not kidding, is getting threatened, ecologically speaking, by building a pipeline? Isn't that national security? See where I'm going with this? So this is why we got to keep such a close eye on these laws. They're really trigger happy on making up new laws and not thinking about the consequences.
Q, forgive me when I have twos here. Twos just always hops in, so I'm going to say it. Whenever you want to hop in, you just hop
He's
in.
so
Okay,
polite.
channel your inner twos if you can find that. I don't know if any of us can find that.
I'm going to be honest. I could sit and listen to Chris all day, so I'm gonna try and pump this up a little bit. But yeah, no, you put me in with the toughest guest for me to participate with, because I just want to listen to her.
Well, let's talk about some happy news.
Okay.
Which isn't happy. I'm sorry. I'm tongue in cheek here.
Oh.
The NDP MP who crossed the floor to the Liberals. So we're inching closer to this Liberal majority through floor crossers. I forget. I don't forget. I actually didn't even look into it. Is it Idloved? How do I say this name, Chris? Anyone? No one?
I'm sorry. I'm usually pretty good at memorizing them, but I didn't take the
All
time
right.
to do
Well,
that. Okay.
this lady, first elected back in 2021, is the fourth MP that has crossed the floor in recent months to join Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal government. The first 3, Chris Endermont, Michael Maw, Matt Genru, all joined from the Conservatives. And her joining the Liberal caucus places the party at 170 seats in the House of Commons, just 2 shy now of a majority. Your thoughts on an NDP now crossing the floor to the Liberal Party of Canada?
So I'll just jump here and go. I'm not surprised at all. This is going to continue to happen, and we've got by-elections that are becoming up in 4 ridings, I believe it is. Anybody that thinks that these guys are not going to wind up with a majority government is not paying close enough attention. That's what's going to happen, and then none of these conversations are going to matter, and everything's going to get pushed through the House of Commons already, anyways, right? I am not shocked that this happened. I won't be shocked that it's going to continue to happen. And when you see, especially what's happened with Genro in the last little while, what happened with his portfolio and how he was treated as an MP, all of a sudden when he crossed the floor, that he starts showing up and voting and doing all the things that MPs are supposed to do, it should be enough to make you want to puke. The last time that I think I saw this done correctly from what I've read was actually here in Saskatchewan, and I believe it was with Buckley Boulanger when he went to cross over to the NDP in Saskatchewan. And at the time the decision was made, they were like, you can, but we're actually going to get you to run as an independent, run a by-election in your riding. And then he was overwhelmingly voted in as an NDP candidate. So if that's the case and that's what the people want, then congratulations, go do it. But I have zero respect, whether it's a Liberal crossing to the Conservatives or a Conservative crossing to the Liberals or NDP crossing to wherever. I don't care who's crossing what floor. Your people elected you to represent a certain party, and you're not doing it. So go back before the people that sent you there, that are paying you, that you work for, and ask their permission to do it. And if they don't want you to do it, then you don't do it. It's that simple.
Amen. We get a lot of emails, as you guys can imagine. You probably get a lot of our emails in your inboxes. We're getting a lot of emails. People are super upset seeing stuff like this. And they're saying things like, we need to ban floor crossing. We need to ban party changes. I would tap the brakes on that. Just a little reminder, Sir Winston Churchill crossed the floor, changed parties numerous times. I think 3 times. Okay, I've read his biography many times. We need to be able, within our Westminster parliamentary system, okay, within our constitutional monarchy and parliament, we have to remain open to a member of parliament changing his or her mind. Say, God forbid, Red Dawn was actually happening. Okay, they're parachuting into the backyard, everything's going to hell, right? And one side is in with the bad guys and the other side decides not to. What if you're stuck on the wrong party all of a sudden? You have to be able to, with conscience, change parties. But to Quick Dick's point, exactly, do it through a by-election. So what we need at the federal level is what we have here in Alberta. We need recall legislation. So any one of these folks decides to switch parties midstream, okay, you're going to get a recall and you're going to have to face your people again. Now, you might get reelected, like the case that happened there in Saskatchewan, or the people might be super mad at you and turf you out. Either way, it's up to the will of the people. So I think that's ultimately the solution here. But you're right, Sean. This looks like a mathematical certainty that Carney will get his majority. The issue here that I find most frustrating, just from a tax fighter perspective, is that this could change the makeup of the committees. So they won't have the minority position on committees anymore, and we won't have these really interesting guests and people giving testimony and really moving the dial. It's just going to become rubber stamp, unfortunately, if this happens.
2 things. The Red Dawn reference. Well done. Well done. But 2, on the what Red Dawn, what would stop if you're on the wrong team? It doesn't stop you from voting with the other team. So why would you need to change? What would it change?
Aren't you cute? Okay, so back when I love you, Sean. So yes, you're right. In school, government curriculum school, we are taught that your member of parliament represents you and your ridings, the constituency in the House of Commons. That's nonsense because they have things called party whips.
Yeah, I know.
They're literally called the whip. They'll get kicked out of the party. They'll get tarred and feathered.
Sean, you're so cute. Thanks, Chris. Hey?
No, I love it. No, it's a real question. No, and I'm not trying to sound like a cow. No, I mean, like, that is truly what it's supposed to be. You are supposed to represent your constituents, but when you actually get into politics and look around on the jersey colors, they literally have a party whip. Like, they will take all their funding away from you at the office level. They will make your life hell at the riding level. Like, they'll kick you out of the party. They'll take away your nomination papers for the next one. So yeah, we have a representative democracy, but it's a big party system.
Chris, I'm going to send you audio later tonight of what cows actually sound like, and you do not sound like one at all whatsoever. Second point, Sean, if you remember, we were having it was on your podcast, we were talking with Chase Barber, and he had the idea that if you really wanted yourself represented in the House of Commons, that you would vote for the Green Party, because the Green Party is the only party that exists within our political system that does not have a party whip, and they're allowed to vote however they want.
That's interesting.
Yes, you thought we should all run for the Green Party. It was actually a smart little thing, except out west, I doubt many. Yeah. Well,
Hey, just real quick, if folks want to take over parties, that's not a dumb idea. Like, I'll put it this way. It's happened twice. I'm getting a little bit out of my lane here, but it's okay. It's happened twice in British Columbia, and it's probably happened in other provinces too. I'm just not aware. Real quick, Sean. So back in BC, when Bill Vander Zalm was finishing up being premier, things all went squirrely, and the SoCreds, the Social Credit Party, had become kind of a tainted name. They wasn't popular. They looked around, and there was this little red car that had full tank of gas and the keys were in it and the engine was running, the doors were unlocked. It was called the BC Liberal Party. They all moved over there. Boom. Bob's your uncle. Like, the party apparatus, everything existed. The name existed. The board existed. It just didn't have any real members. And all of a sudden, it did. Similar thing has now happened with the BC Conservatives. For the longest time, the BC Liberals and the NDP were trading power. And there was this little blue car sitting over there in the parking lot. All the insurance was paid, full tank of gas, just nobody driving it. They took over. So that joke about the Green Party, actually, you can do that. You can like mass buy membership. You can fill up the boards.
There you go, Chase. We're all getting mass memberships to the Green Party. Let's roll. All right.
Green's a
Green's
nice
going to
color.
never look so good.
You know?
Committees here. Okay. We got 5 minutes before you're out of here, Chris. So
Okay,
okay. So they get a majority. Don't they have to prorogue government in order to reset committees?
I believe so. Yeah, but he could do that like by sneezing.
Nope. So in my, I'm like, I hate to put out what I think could happen, but if you get a majority, what you should see happen next is a proroguing of government, because that would reset committees, and then they truly have what Quick Dick was talking about, where they can just hammer anything through. Because right now committees are held up by the bloc. Correct?
Correct. And there's always opposition there, which is why you get these good back and forths right now. And they would also, if I were imagining what they're going to do, say they get their majority, they would then prorogue, then they would call a new session, they would have a speech from the throne, and they would restart.
You know what's sad? That I understood what you just said.
I know.
Like, I mean, oh my goodness.
Throne speech, all the parliamentary procedure.
Yeah.
Look at you.
And look at me go. Look at me. Okay, one final one before I let you out of here. Okay. Curious your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Canadian recession risk on rise as high oil prices threaten to curb consumer spending. With the war in the Middle East looking to last weeks, I chuckle about that, if not months. Yes, economists say Canadian will likely cut spending on everything from dining out and buying clothes to getting new furniture. Since the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran on February 28th, the price of oil and gas has soared worldwide. For Canadian drivers, that means an instant reduction in disposable income, said Douglas Porter, chief economist at BMO. A rise in gasoline prices is effectively a tax on consumers, Porter said. They can't change their driving, so the extra money either comes out of the savings or what they spend in other areas. While rising oil prices boost the bottom line of energy companies in the Alberta economy, including wiping out their provincial deficit, the rest of the country isn't so fortunate. Your thoughts on that last line?
A few thoughts. How do I put this? It's perplexing to see the Alberta government's shameless waste of money, their terrible budget, their terrible deficit of more than $9 billion, probably going to get wiped out because the price of a barrel of oil went over $100. And I think yesterday, I think it was still in the 90s for West Texas International. So because so much of our bottom line, revenue-wise in Alberta, relies on that oil price, they're probably going to get away with being terrible with money again. So that's super frustrating. And I will stress, like, I've known Danielle Smith for 20 years. I'm a big fan of her personally. But the job of the finance minister in Alberta was to find savings. They didn't bother, okay? Their spending has gone up, I think, by more than 30%. 30% since she took over, okay? They're wasting so much money. I'll give you a quick example, guys. Quick example. If you're going through your budget and you're like, okay, we need to cut out all the nice to haves or silly things that we waste money on. Cut. They didn't do that. You might remember that whole arts foundation that gives money so somebody can fly overseas and roll around on a lawn chair, or fly overseas and hide behind a big sheet of paper, or tape takeout container food garbage to old Christmas tinsel and hang it in transit windows. Yeah, that arts foundation, they gave it more money. They increased its funding by $3.5 million. Like, I'm going to lose it. So, but now we've got the price of a barrel of oil up. They're going to be, probably able to wipe out their deficit. All this is to say, what the economists there are saying is true. People's need to use oil and gas to get around, to heat their homes, to make things go. Diesel is the lifeblood of our economy. That is inelastic. People can't just stop doing that, okay? So they are going to be cutting into things like housing, food, all that other stuff, clothing, not going anywhere, all that jazz. So that is a big, big problem. And it's one of the reasons why we wanted to get rid of the carbon tax, because it was a punishment on every level of your life. So yeah, this is going to be a big, complicated problem. I pray, guys, that after this one, whatever happens, and maybe the budget will balance out, that we actually live up to that old bumper sticker. Please give me another oil boom. I promise not to PISS it away again. That has to be the case here in Alberta. They've got to get their fiscal house in order.
What did you guys have over in Alberta that was really fancy that Ralph Klein built for you guys? What was that called? Do you remember what it was called? Heritage Fund?
Oh,
Was it
yes,
along those
actually.
lines? Yeah.
So to be fair, Smith does care about the Heritage Fund, and they have started putting money back into it, and they're not taking money out of it, which is it. Whereas the longest time we were taking money out of it, all the way through Redford and Notley and all that stuff, they were taking money out of it. To be fair, they have kept it there so far. But what's ticking me off is that now I'm hearing rumblings about a PST, and people aren't squelching it as fast as they should be. Like super dumb things that I'm hearing rumblings about. And I'm like fit to be tied.
Coming from a guy that lives in Saskatchewan that pays 6% PST, all that happens with a PST is the same thing that happened with income tax and GST, is your government learns how to spend it and then they can't. Just costs everybody more money. That's all that happens with it. It's hilarious that this rally in oil prices is happening right before the Saskatchewan government's releasing their budget, because they're softening everybody up for a massive deficit here in Saskatchewan. They're just trying to soften the blow. And then all of a sudden, Trump starts shooting missiles at Iran. And then the SAS party is just like, hey, hold on a minute, guys. Yeah, we're going to get that budget to you as soon as we can. But then you just see this price of oil start rocketing here, right? This issue that we have with all of our natural resources, whether it's Alberta or Saskatchewan, is we piss a lot of it away. You know how it works when you're budgeting a household or a farm or anywhere else? You're like, listen, a farm's a great example because we have a commodity that we're trying to sell, be it beef or be it a cash crop, canola, wheat, barley, whatever you want to call it. You're like, okay, let's say, where were we at last year for our price? Where are we at this year? You can forward contract a little bit of stuff, but you're like, listen, we're only going to assume that we're going to get half of our crop. That's what you do if you're going to be a smart budgeter on a farm. You're going to be like, I'm going to assume that I'm going to get half of it. I'm going to forward price some of it so I know I've got a little bit of liquid cash that I can work with. I'm going to make sure I got all my payments covered. And then when the crop is in, I'm going to look back at things and be like, how much did I make? How much extra have I got to spend? And what's it going to be? And 9 times out of 10, if you had a shitty year, it's not going to be a King Ranch F350 with a brand new stock trailer. You're going to be like, what do we need to make our operation do better for this to be able to make more money throughout the course of the year? People that can successfully do this on any operation, but specifically an agriculture operation, get to do this neat thing called stay in business, because the bank will keep backing them and they keep crawling their way out of debt, and eventually they start becoming a cash positive operation. But for some reason, our governments are completely intoxicated with deficits and love to blow billions of dollars paying on interest on money that they borrowed that they shouldn't have fucking spent in the first place, and fucking rent.
Can he be our finance minister?
I will say fuck a million times. I promise.
Please do. I will be there with a microphone. We'd only need you for like 6 weeks, but like over Christmas.
I'm mainlining coffee. That's what's happening.
All I could think of is you brought up Red Dawn, Chris, and now we got Q ranting, and I think of the champ. I snap, I lose it, I throw the Jane Fonda video. And the idiot presses play. Yeah, that's great. Chris, I've held you a little over time. Appreciate you hopping on and giving us some time this morning. As always, it's a pleasure. I know everybody watching the show appreciates when you come on, and we appreciate having you here.
Well, thank you for the invite. I'm going to go record a video with my team about gas taxes and which ones suck the most.
Love you, Chris.
Bye.
All right. So we had Chris Sims on for the first half of the show. For the next half, it's me and you, Q. I'm going to do my best to tee up. You don't not have to. I'm throwing out. I just went through. Normally I'm so annoyed with twos, but I'll give twos a credit here. Okay, I don't know where twos finds half the stupid stories he talks about, but it is a talent. I'll give him that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's some of the headlines from around the world. And mainly Canada. I like to stick on Canada, and I thought some of them would be in your wheelhouse. We'll see what you think.
All right.
And at the end of it, folks, we're not going. I think him and Lee's Merle went 2.5 hours last week. I'm like, I'm not doing 2.5 hours this morning.
We are not doing 2.5 hours, Sean.
Q has things to get to. Yeah, that's right. All right. Silence from Ottawa shameful after a report of Canadian camp hit by missile. Conservative MP, Conservative defense critic James Bazan said it's really shameful the Liberal government did not tell the public about a reported Iranian missile strike on an airbase in Kuwait, where Canadian Armed Forces personnel are stationed. Prime Minister Mark Carney was asked by reporters on Thursday if he could confirm the strikes and explained why Canadians weren't informed earlier. Carney said in response that all members of the Canadian forces in the region are all safe and sound. We're not engaged in these actions by the U.S. and Israel. We're not engaged in offensive actions, and we will not be engaged in those actions, he said.
Did you hear the audio of his actual response? Because I didn't think that anybody existed on this planet that could stutter and stammer and say any more than Justin Trudeau possibly could. And Carney said, "Hold my beer, watch this." That's exactly what went down. Also responding, he's like, "Hey, I'm not the only guy in Ottawa that you can ask questions to." All of a sudden, he's backing off like he doesn't want to have anything to do with being questioned on this. And then the other part of this is this guy starts talking about how we're not going to be engaged in this conflict. Well, if we were going to be engaged in this conflict, what are you going to engage in this conflict with? A paper airplane, a rubber dinghy that floats around a bowl, and a army that can't have enough gear to refrain from getting frostbite when they're doing northern exercises in our country? We have no military. We have a government that tries to take seriously their 2% of GDP spending on our NATO commitments, and they're involving the cost of trees and landscaping at Canadian Forces bases as being a part of this spending. Like, this guy talks like he's got a massive dick on him and he's running around and he's been gelded. We have nothing that we could possibly contribute with. And we're talking like we're something on the world stage. It's fucking embarrassing, man.
I did listen to the audio, and I found it funny that the guy who's supposed to be the leader, the commander in chief, doesn't know what's going on.
Oh,
That's what I took. You could ask anybody else, sir. You're the commander in chief of this country.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just give us a statement.
All audio that I listened to, including the mashup, is on at least 1.5 times because I want to try it. I want to try and drink from a fire hose and get as much as I can with the time that I've got. And I had to double check and make sure that I wasn't on slow motion. And I was on 1.5. And this guy's like, just stop.
Conservatives introduced bill to create a stand your ground law for home invasions. Ontario MP Sandra Kobina introduced a private member's bill on Thursday that would change Section 34 of the Criminal Code so that the use of force against an illegal intruder is presumed to be justified. I have, at this point in time, nothing in me that believes this will even get remotely close. But I was curious. What do you think of what did I call it? Forgive me. Stand your ground law.
Well, obviously, absolutely. So I'd say it's a step ahead of what the Toronto police was trying to tell everybody to just leave your keys at the front door and let the intruders take it. But I have a real problem with this whole victimhood of criminals. The criminal, the person that's breaking into the place where you live, which is supposed to be, quote unquote, the word that I hate using, your safe space. This is where you're supposed to be safe, is in your home. Now, when you live in places like where I live, I've done videos on this, man. RCMP is 30 to 45 minutes away at best, but they're probably off dealing with a domestic dispute somewhere else at this point in time anyways. And this ties back into why I think the gun everything that we have going on with this government is wrong, because it's taken away our opportunity to be able to just protect ourselves and live. If somebody breaks into my home, I am assuming that they're here to hurt me no matter what. What other thing could possibly be motivating them to come into your home? They're coming to take whatever it is that you've got and probably hurt anybody that gets in their way. And I'm actually not going to stop and try and run through some kind of an assessment tree that's going to tell me whether I should or should not use force against the person that has broke into my house. I'm taking them down. It's that simple.
Here's an interesting one. A guy who deals with farming. Okay. I assume you've been paying attention, Q, to all the things going on in BC with the land disputes, the Cowichan decision, that type of thing. Here's the headline: title concerns and an uncertainty to land deals. An initial offering of 12 ranches totaling more than 45,000 acres by Manette Farms, one of Canada's largest farm operators, ended without bids, a sign, according to industry leaders, that uncertainty surrounding Aboriginal title is scaring off buyers. The offering of the properties last November went through Ritchie Brothers auctioneers, was billed as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own prime ranch land, with a Facebook video featuring drone footage of a sweeping vista in the BC interior. Manette says it was open to a leaseback arrangement with new owners, which would allow it to keep working the properties. Despite the hype, Ritchie Brothers did not sell any of the properties by the initial January 9th deadline, and the properties entered a tendered by auction process with a March 3rd deadline. And also went on to say one ranch deal is already known to have fallen through after local indigenous groups told the prospective buyer, whose offer on the property had been accepted, that they would not endorse the transfer of the crown licenses needed to support the operation.
So there's a few things I can't really say unpack because I don't have like all the data at my fingertips here, right? But when it comes down to that specific sale with Ritchie Brothers with those ranches, there was a prerequisite that if you were even going to bid on it with Ritchie Brothers, there was, I want to say it was upwards of 25 to 27 million credit that you needed to even be able to bid on it. Now, I might be talking out my ass here because, of course, like I say, it's drinking from a fire hose, taking all the stuff in. And somebody didn't send me questions that we were going to be talking about here today, so I don't have the exact numbers or anything.
I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat.
But I do know that it was an obscene amount of credit that you had backing you to even enter the bidding process on this. So that's going to be the first nail in the coffin right there. I don't 100% know what's happening with Manette Farms across the board. I've just heard rumblings that there might be some financial problems there. I'm not 100% sure what the story is. But when you look at a lot of the forecasts of input prices versus commodity price over the next little while, certain crops are showing in the red of what you're actually going to be able to turn for a profit. And if you're a company that large that's operating on an obscene amount of credit, you're going to have a hard time convincing a banker that you're doing something that's viable and justifiable for them to keep loaning you money. So I think there's going to be a lot of those sales possibly come up. That's the case, but obviously it's a tale that they're telling with what's happening with these land rights issues in BC right now. Is that is something that will make any investor very scared. And if you're a person that needs to borrow money who's not going to borrow money to buy this stuff, if you're the kind of person that needs to borrow money, no sane lender is going to walk in there with the dumpster fire that's starting to burn in BC with some of these couch and land right claims and be like, yeah, you know what? Here's 25, here's 30, here's 40 million. Good luck. Nobody's doing it, right? Like would you put capital up against something like that with what's happening? Nobody will.
No, capital is going to do the opposite. It's going to run away from it. I would assume that's why Manette Farms is doing exactly what it's doing. Once again, I don't know the inner workings. But I've had Barry Kirkham's the lawyer I've had on twice, 50-year lawyer, and he just laid it out. It was so like cut and dry when he's on here talking to me, and I'm just like, this is wild. Like, I mean, this is wild. So if you're anyone who's lending money, or you're a business, that's looking to go where opportunity lies, BC right now and other parts of Canada are going to be places you're going to steer away from because of this. It's uncertainty. You have uncertainty in what's going to go on with property rights.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you've heard my live comedy before. I mean, I blame a lot of things on participation awards, and I blame a lot of things on land acknowledgements as well, right? And you're starting to see it start to boil down in real life here of what's happening. Talk to most Indigenous people how they feel about land acknowledgements as well, because it's a lot of performative stuff going on, and then it starts to have things like this happen of what's going on in BC. And as far as I'm concerned, this is just the tip of the spear.
Of all the things I had on the old bingo card for 2026, or maybe I don't even know, the last year, okay, you got Alberta independence, they're signing the petition, and then of course there's going to be people who are dead against that. Well, here's the next headline. I did not have this one on the bingo card. King expressed concern over Alberta separatists, say First Nations chiefs. King Charles III expressed his concern over the Alberta separatist movement while meeting Indigenous leaders at Buckingham Palace, according to a delegation of First Nations chiefs that traveled to London. Grand Chief Joey Pete of the Confederacy of Treaty 6 First Nations First Nations, said he and other leaders made the king aware of the threat that the movement represented to agreements signed by First Nations and the Crown from more than a century ago. He added that the king was very interested in what we had to say and had committed to learning more. Now, I'm like, I don't know about you twos. Q. Oh, man, I'm falling into old habits quick, Dick. I don't know about you, but I'm like, of all the things, they talk about, I'm like, oh, man, I did not see going to the king as where this was going to lead.
So we're going to the monarchy, technically, that took the land away from me in the first place. And we're being like, hey, like somebody's trying to take the land away. Like, I just don't get it. But like at any point in time here of what people think or don't think about what's going to happen with separation, I mean, it's everyone has made it abundantly clear that I mean, Indigenous rights are going to be looked into and taken into account, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I'm not sure exactly what relevance the monarchy actually has in Canada anymore. And like, get me started on the governor general of both here in the lieutenant governor here in Saskatchewan, or the governor general in Ottawa, of the absolute complete dumpster fire of money that those positions are, aside from what the dumpster fire of money the royal monarch is, because I don't understand what relevance they have in the world whatsoever, aside from showing up in the Epstein files a whole bunch of times.
Dude, yeah. I mean, yeah. All right. Carney announces $35 billion for defense infrastructure in Canada's north. I'd actually had Yukon Strong on, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and he
I
was
think I caught
talking
that one.
about
Yeah.
he was talking about that you know, the military is set to open up a bunch of things there, and it could be a bit of a I hesitate the word to use word boom, but certainly some investment going to the Yukon, and now it's set as 35 billion. Although the story leads, you know, well here the Liberal government has unveiled a detailed multi-billion-dollar proposal modernize and expand Canada's military footprint in the country's far north. The comprehensive $35 billion plan, which also includes improvements to civilian infrastructure, is expected to see northern base upgrades, including runway improvements and expansions, as well as hangar and road construction at a number of locations across the Arctic. Most of the investment, approximately $32 billion, is being drawn from a pool of money set aside almost 4 years ago by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government to modernize NORAD.
So that's what I was just gonna say. I feel like we're at Groundhog's Day again here, because we're back into the liberal regurgitation machine. This is was it 20? I want to say 22. Was it that we heard this from the Trudeau government? This is all we ever hear from the Liberal government every time that they're in. We're gonna build big. We're gonna build strong. We're gonna be our best owned customer. We're gonna do big things. That's all we ever hear. And like, what's been done from the Trudeau era with what they promised was going to happen with the North and NORAD and our northern security and sovereignty of Canada? That's what's been done. Then that's what's going to continue to be done. All these guys want to do is just make headlines. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And absolutely nothing's going to get done.
What do you think 32 billion buys you anymore?
Shit, I don't know, man.
Like I know what I could do with 32 billion. But I'm like, I actually don't know what 32 billion buys you in military contracts and like a run. It's like, we're going to build a runway. I'm like, man, that thing better be gold plated.
Like,
you know,
so
like
32 billion. Would that buy you the interest payment on our deficit in Canada right now? Maybe it might. I haven't run the numbers lately, but I mean,
we need Chris Sims back. Chris, you need to come back.
But like, what's our interest payment on $1.3 trillion? I'm not quite sure that my calculator goes that high.
U.S. consulate shooting in Toronto being investigated as national security incident. The reason I put this in is what I was in Panama City, this past weekend, and friends from Saskatchewan, from Lumsden, were there, and they
like,
just
run into each other there by chance.
Yeah.
Shit, I love it when that happens.
Yeah. So they were talking about coming from Austin, and there being a shooting there, and it being, you know, terrorism. It wasn't like a school shooting. This was a bar. It looked like it was very much in line with what's going on over in the Middle East. And so they were just like, oh man, yeah, it was pretty wild. And so I was like, well, you know, as this war continues to grow, not lessen, will we see more of this? And, you know, of course, a consulate shooting in Toronto being investigated as a national security incident. Police say they will investigate any possible terrorism links as they search for two suspects who fired shots at the U.S. consulate in Toronto early Tuesday morning. Evidence shows that while a white Honda CRV was spotted heading west on Dundas Street before turning on University Avenue and stopping in front of the U.S. consulate, there, two individuals emerged from the vehicle, discharged what appears to be a handgun at the front of the building, then got back in their vehicle and drove southbound. They don't know who it is, but I go, is this going to, you know, like me and Twos pay attention to a bunch of trends, and you go, is this going to be the first and only, or is it going to trend more? I really hope it doesn't go more, but the fact is, it's been less than a week. since I had that conversation. Shout out to Henry and Terry. And I feel like I'm seeing it propping up more and more and more. And here's one in Canada.
Mhm. Yeah, and like shooting at the U.S. embassy as well. And so, I remember seeing this headline somewhere. So first of all, has anybody told these two individuals that they're actually using a prohibited firearm to do that? You're actually not allowed to have a handgun in public. Do they know that? Secondly, would be, is the CRV registered? There should be a license plate on it. Can we not track to who this thing is registered to and owns? Like, isn't that how the system is supposed to work? Thirdly, I mean, so it's national security. I would assume national security because it was a U.S. Basically property. Because I'm not brushed right up on this, but is not if there's a U.S. consulate in Canada, is that not actually the property of the United States of America? I think is how that works, right? So of course it's going to be an issue of national security. But who's shocked that there's a random shooting in Toronto? Like,
True.
this is all you ever hear out of this city, is that there's a shooting here, shooting. That's all you ever hear in this city. And we're busy spending $750 million trying to ban firearms throughout the entirety of our country. While at the same time, all of these people are shooting up different buildings in Toronto with guns that are not even from Canada, that have come across the border from the US, that are already prohibited here. So, I mean, forgive me if I'm not surprised that this stuff happens, but like, this is the problem with the world right now, is that, oh, I feel like I lost Sean.
I'm back.
Are you back? Okay, that's cool. So yeah, it's just it's a sad state of affairs, and we're wasting time, precious money, and resources on this ridiculous gun buyback program that the Liberals want to call it. It's a gun confiscation program. And meanwhile, all of this shit is happening throughout our country. I referenced it already once, but I mean, if we've got people that are busted trafficking fentanyl and their charges are stayed and nothing happens with it, like, what the fuck do we expect to happen in this country?
More of the same.
More of the same. It's all that's going to happen. And
Yeah.
we've got some great Mounties that exist here in RM 276 in Saskatchewan. You want to talk about people that are frustrated? They're overworked, underpaid. They have like no relief from what's happening. And you get in a conversation for 2 seconds with these Mounties that are around here, and they have absolutely no use whatsoever for our government as much as we do. So,
last night we were texting back and forth, and I was trying to get Uncle Hack on. And the reason I wanted Uncle Hack on is I wanted two comedians to talk about this story. And that is Ben Bankus. Everywhere he's going, he's getting his comedy shows. They're selling out and they're getting canceled everywhere. Two sold out shows for comedian Ben Bankus that were scheduled to take place at Elements nightclub in Kitchener, canceled. Then it goes on to say a venue in Peterborough was canceled. And then it goes on to say Nanaimo, BC, the Port Theatre, sold out, canceled. So, like, obviously he's on the edge of,
I'd say he's over the edge. Have you seen his stuff?
Yes.
He's over the edge. You can just say it. It's okay, right?
Well,
it's comedy. He's over the edge. He's not on the edge. He jumps over the edge and he lets it rip. Okay, this happens on both sides of the political spectrum as well when it comes to comedy. And did I cut you off? Do you need to finish anything? Or do you want me to keep going here? Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, this has nothing to do with the content.
You're not channeling your inner Twos, because Twos wouldn't even ask. He'd just keep talking to you quick. Right? He'd just talk over me, and he'd just go, and he doesn't give it. Anyways, carry on.
This isn't on Ben Bankus, okay? And this is the same thing what happened with Rob Schneider, when he came to the Regina. Hospital, and so the fault here is, listen, it's a hospital gala. Did you do your research on the comedian that's coming in? Because it takes you 2 seconds in an internet connection to figure out who Rob Schneider is. Same with Ben Bankus. Same with Quick Dick McDick. Same with any of these people, right? This is on the venue. If the venue wants to bring people in and they have people that are buying tickets for it and people are going to come and see it, the venue knows what they're getting into, and it should be the comedian's audience that has bought the tickets that are going to come in and do it. So listen, the venue has the right to cancel the show. So it's their right just as much as it is for the comedian to come in and do it. But you shouldn't be taking on the show, taking on the booking, getting it, then having 2 or 3 people get mad and then cancel the show. If you've got a sold out show, it's unacceptable. and it gets harder for comedians to go and do their thing. Do I like Ben Bankus? I don't get his comedy. I've watched some of it and I don't even really laugh at it. I'm just like, okay, you're grabbing the low hanging fruit and you do some of the racism thing and this and that or whatever. Which again, like, there's how many comedians out there do that? I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of them that do it, right? It's just not my thing. But just because it's not my thing, it doesn't mean that I think that he should not be allowed to do comedy wherever he's doing. Like, you sell out a venue and people have paid to come see. They know what they're getting into. They want to come and see it. So let it rip. It's just the same as if I was going to see anybody else on the other side of the spectrum that does political satire. I mean, if I don't want to see it, I'm just not going to go. There was another thing that just happened in Gull Lake here not long ago. I don't know if you heard about that one, where the theater was playing the Melania Trump documentary, and there was some locals that stirred up a fuss that was going to happen and then it shouldn't be allowed to play there. And this is in small town Saskatchewan. This just boils down to the simple thing. It's same with the internet, same with live shows, same with anything. If you don't fucking like it, don't go. It's that simple. You have a choice not to
I
go.
hope I am never in the stage of life where a Melania Trump documentary playing in small town Saskatchewan frustrates me that much that I got to protest that. I'm just saying. Like that's a who.
Like, I just don't get it, man. And sure, people like to play the thing of, well, I get that it's just comedy, but there's some things that you shouldn't say. No, there's really, yeah, okay, sure, but it depends what your sense of humor entails and what kind of person that you are, right? If you're a person that's getting on stage that's trying to whip people up to go, engage in violence or to kill people or hurt people, obviously you shouldn't have that platform. But if you're just telling a fucking joke, just don't go if you don't like it. Or if you hear a joke that you don't like and you're there, just leave. I think I've had it happen, 2 or 3 times in my entire comedic career where somebody didn't like my swearing, so they left. Well, like, newsflash, I'm Quick Dick, and it says it right on every banner that we make for our shows that's got profane language in it. And then, there's been some people upset with some of the jokes that I make, and they just get up and leave. And like, that's the game, that's the biz, that's comedy.
Okay, one of the things we've been paying attention to in Canada has been drivers. Okay, you drive a lot. Okay, old blue ball. Okay, and I'm going to read the story, but I just want to give my experience. So I told you about being on the plane and that being strange, and then driving home from Calgary. Right, we'd had freezing rain or something, or kind of like, so there was a, I look at all the liberal drivers in the ditch, and I'm kind of like, man, have they never seen a little bit of rough weather? Like,
how do you know? Did you ask them for their voting card? Do you know they're liberals, that they're in the ditch?
I did not, but I did some simple math, and I'm pretty sure. Okay. Now, that isn't what struck me. What struck me, Q, was between Lloyd and Edmonton. I saw 2 semis, one a rollover. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be clear here. I had the cruise on from Edmonton to Lloyd. The roads were that clear. They were just clear. I wasn't worried about a single thing. I was just cruising along, and I got between, I think it was Manville and Innisfree, folks. And there's a rollover semi, and I'm looking at their side of the road, and it looked relatively fresh. Like, emergency vehicles are still there, cops are still there, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, so what did he do? Like, how did he do that? And I'm then going for the next 40 minutes of my drive, going, have I ever seen anything like that in my entire life? Mm-hmm. On that stretch of highway? And I'm sure there's been a couple accidents, but I'm like, a semi flipped, like, I mean, full on flipped, and still partly on the highway so that traffic's backed up. I'm like, no, I don't think I've ever. And then I tack that on to my oldest brother, talking about a group of truckers holding up the entire lane, going westbound at Elk Island Park because of road conditions. And he said he got up there thinking it was an accident. It wasn't. They were just worried about road conditions. So they had slowed down all of traffic and backed it up. I'm like, this is becoming strange. This is why me and Twos follow this. Okay. Enter the story. Another overpass in Saskatoon damaged by a truck driver with overheight load. Another day, another Saskatoon overpass damaged by a truck driver hauling a load that was too tall for clearance. On Wednesday, a truck driver with an overheight load hit the 108th Street overpass on the Sutherland neighborhood, causing debris to fall on the northbound lanes of Circle Drive, according to City Saskatoon news release. Q, you travel all over the place. You haul things all over the place. What is your view on this? Like,
Guy,
am I just losing my mind?
Sean, I drove commercial vehicle for 20 years. I've got over 3 million kilometers logged on a truck. So first of all, the rollover you're talking about, let me tell you this. If you blew past Manville and realized that you hadn't stopped for sausage, what would you do to turn around? Like, I mean, I'd whistle that thing around, whatever it took. Okay. Second thing, so the overpass that got clipped in Saskatoon, I mean, Lloydminster is no stranger to overpasses getting clipped because of the train trestle there, right? But everyone looks at they're trying to vilify this driver. Have you seen pictures of it? Like, it literally ripped the top cab of the track hoe right off, and the actual track stayed tied down to the trailer. Sure, maybe this guy shouldn't be driving, but maybe he should secure everyone's load for him. You know what I mean?
He knows how to secure a load.
Something down. Obviously doesn't know how to measure the height of his load and read a load restriction sign. You know, it's a progressing problem, and like there used to be a culture that existed in our society, as far as I'm concerned, that when conditions were bad and if you were concerned about what was happening, the safe thing to do was to get in behind a truck driver and follow the truck driver, because somebody that was competent, that was a responsible driver and knew what they were doing, was going to lead the way, right? That's the way it used to be. I remember it being that way in snowstorms. Dad would be like, we're just going to tuck in behind this truck driver and follow him. Well, now when I come anywhere near a commercial truck, I'm like, I'm getting the fuck around this guy, because what's going to happen here? A lot of people want to pin this on, immigration and a few other things. And part of it is, sure, you can call me racist or be whatever you want, but I'm just calling a spade here.
I don't think he's going to call you racist. I have eyes in my head and you can see it.
Yeah, the reason the MELT program existed is because we came up with this big, long, complicated process to get a commercial driver's license to mask the fact that we should have basic skills that exist here in Canada, which is being able to speak either English or French, and to be able to understand directions, and to be able to competently pass a pre-trip inspection of a vehicle and what's deemed acceptable and not acceptable to be on the road. I was 18 years old and a new truck driver once too, and I sure as hell wasn't turned out on my own. I mean, there's a graduated process where you learn how to drive a truck, you learn what happens, and then experience makes you a safer driver, right? But we have not only drivers coming here that can't speak the local language, that don't really respect the weight or know the danger that exists within a big commercial vehicle that has an automatic transmission that they can just put it and drive and go. But at the same time, it's the companies that are employing these people, putting them on the road, knowing that they're not safe. That's a part of the problem as well, that we're not doing anything about. And outside of that, Sean, as far as distracted driving goes, that's not just here's a certain race of people that are driving the truck. It's everywhere. I like you say, I make a ton of miles doing these shows. I go all across 3 provinces. I drive everywhere, and I have seen some of the craziest shit going down these roads. You'll come up a commercial vehicle on the road that's literally swerving all over the place. This happened to me on Chaplin when I was coming home from my last show out in Brooks, and I'm like, right away, I profile the driver and everything. I'm like, oh, here's what's going on, and I come up driving beside it. And it's a guy it's a white dude that's just on his phone. So we can't just profile it to a certain race of people or immigrants that are the problem. Everybody's the problem. And if you're driving a class 1 commercial vehicle, you need to take it seriously, because any vehicle, you need to take it seriously, but specifically those, because weight, velocity plus carelessness equals death, no matter which way you look at it. And not only that, if you've done a improper pre-trip inspection, you blow a retread tire and you got a motorcycle that's passing you, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to kill them. So, I mean, it's just a lot of the shit that we just take for granted, and we just need to do a better job of it, man.
I know you're a giant sports fan, so I know you're excited for the next one. Canada advances to World Baseball Classic quarterfinals to face the United States of America. Canada advances the World Baseball Classic playoff round for the first time in the international tournament's 20-year history. So if you're a baseball fan, we're doing something. I think it's tonight, the game. And I know Q is going to be like all over that. He's like, oh man, I can't wait. I cannot wait for that to happen. And I think I have, if memory, yeah, right there. I think here we go. Let's pull that up. There you go. We're moving on. I mean, I don't think of us as the giant baseball powerhouse, folks, but I thought that was, from the sports desk. That's pretty big news of the week.
Hey, well, if we can't win her in hockey, we might as well give it a try at baseball. I think we should have shone a little more light on the Special Olympics curling team.
Yes, actually, you're right.
I was seeing some pretty incredible shots there, which was awesome. And I like if I'm gonna watch anything, I like watching curling because I like curling. But I will tell you one thing I noticed during the shot where he was threading the needle up at the top there, where he made that last shot. I noticed that he pushed the rock and thrown it, and then he was yelling like an average skip that was just like, yes, curl. And I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's sweeping. Who the fuck are you yelling at, man? You just yelling at the rock? Did you notice that? He was like literally yelling after he made, he's like, yes, curl. And I'm like, who, the rock? You're yelling at the rock to curl? Because nobody's there sweeping. I just thought that was funny.
You didn't, if we do the mash feel again, you're going to get to see.
Definitely going to try and be there. You got to get me a date, man. I told you.
No, I know. I'm a horrific curler. I'm horrific, but I did beat twos. That's all that matters. That's important. Yeah. Okay. On the lighter side of things. Okay.
Good. Are we wrapping soon here, man? I can't sit much longer.
Nope. Okay. Like 3-4 minutes. Okay. Sure. And not twos 3-4 minutes, like literally 3-4 minutes. World's first self-driving car for fish is to liberate your goldfish from its watery prison. Yes, that's a thing. I didn't believe it until I saw it with my own eyes. They're trying to get it to navigate which way the fish is swimming so that the car will move.
Like, where does I don't understand.
It's a fish tank on wheels.
Why?
I know. I don't know.
What road is this driving on? Maybe we're going to have to worry about a melt program for the self-driving cars, and that the fish has been properly trained so that it can not get in an accident on our roadways.
This is Merlin the pig. Q. I don't know about the pigs on your farm. Okay. This pig has 1.1 million Instagram followers, earns a Guinness Book World Record. Okay. There you go, Merlin. I know that.
Does everybody know that it's not actually the pig that's posting? Like, they'd have non-opposable thumbs. I don't know how you would ever.
Here's I'm not a runner. I don't know. Do you run?
I used to run. Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah, I've won a few marathons, man.
Runners strap headlamps on a tackle deepest marathon over 3,000 feet underground in a underground zinc mine.
Oh,
that's what I thought. I'm like, huh?
And so the one thing that would blow people's minds, and stay tuned. Eventually, I am going to start getting some videos back up on the Quick Tick channel on YouTube. But stay tuned. We're actually going to be doing a tour of a potash mine. It would blow people's minds how many kilometers and kilometers and kilometers of tunnels actually exist underground.
Did you go when you do these videos? Are you going down? Are you going to show it?
Yeah, I'll be going down. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
If you need a cameraman for that, Dan.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah, just let me know. Community Hometown Heroes. Here's what Jamie Sinclair sent me. He thinks all the canvassers, all the everyday average Albertans that are going around collecting signatures, that's his shout out this week for Community Hometown Heroes. So I agree with him. There's just everyday people going around gathering signatures. Good on them, because there's nobody paying them to do that.
Say hey to Jamie. We're overdue for a beer because we've never actually had one. So yeah.
There you go, Jamie. Community notes, March 14th, that is tomorrow, Dallas Block Rock Solid Refuge is putting on a free conference for parents and youth workers. Topics like hopeful vision in difficult times and parenting in high-tech world with guest speaker Naomi Holland. For more information, including the live stream, you can go to rocksolidrefuge.com. For those curious about the Cornerstone Forum, it is now sold out, so that's cool. And that happens here in a couple of weekends. Yeah, thank you. And happy news. Our friends over at Blacklocks Reporters celebrate 14 years this year. I don't know where Canada would be without Holly and Tom, but the work they do is just top notch, and I just want to give them a shout out this week.
Holly Doan and Tom Korski are two of the best, right next to Chris Sims. Please, if you don't follow them, subscribe to them. They are a great organization that does some very important reporting here in Canada.
Q, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate you stepping in and filling in. If you're enjoying the show, folks, we're live here. Mashup 200. Where did that go? I have no idea. But next Friday, every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
You brought me on for $199 and not $200, dude.
Well, you can come back on for a quick hit on 200 if you like.
I can only do this 2 hours of sleep a night, so many nights in a row, man. I'm gonna go see if we've had any brand new bundles of hamburger hit the ground here yet. Both my cups are empty. So,
Q, thanks for hopping on and doing it this week. Everyone, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch up to you next week.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.